the contract de-escalates in the last couple of years. So the dollar amount comes down quite a bit lower. So I think number one, that was a good signing. It's a calculated signing. Is it going to work out? Who knows? That's the thing with goaltenders. You just never know. Like, who knows? But if you're going to take a shot, I think it's a good, educated move to go out and get Korpisalo. Number one, he's been one of the better goaltenders in the league the last little while. Not one of the best, but he's been good. He's been very good. And then you add in the fact that he's got some history with Forsberg. The two of them were running mates back when they won a Calder Cup. Although this is interesting. As you saw this, right, Wally? A lot of people have talked about that. But Forsberg was the guy that carried the mail back in the day. He's the guy that was the better goaltender back when they were in the minors, when they went on that Calder Cup run. I think it was Erie, right? Columbus's farm.
2016, I believe it is. Yeah.
2016. So it just goes to show you, right? You never know. Like if you'd go back in time, people would say, well, Forsberg would be the one now making $5 million, not Korpisalo if you went by what they did when they were younger. Because I believe Forsberg, didn't he go 9-0 en route to that Calder Cup win they had? Like, he had a great record back then. But hey, things change. Things happen throughout your career. Korpisalo went into LA, played very well. And listen, people can say, well, he didn't play very well against Edmonton. Well, he was getting slaughtered and peppered with shots, facing McDavid, facing Draisaitl. So I like it. Is it going to work out? Who knows for sure? But I like the fact that it's a good, educated, calculated risk.
It is a gamble. There's no question. A 5-year, $20 million deal. Listen, everybody knows July 1 rolls around, you overpay. Does it? Rarely do you not overpay for July 1st. So you got to add some term to the deal. It's, as you said, de-escalates at the end or it comes down in cap space.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Here's the thing, Yorkie, and I'm shocked you didn't bring this up because you, the ageist guy that you are, there was no goalie. Now, Korpisalo's 29. So obviously he's turning 30 here in the next year. No goalie in the top 15, I think it is, were in save percentage last year for goaltenders. Not one of them was in the top 50. So no goalie in the top 16 in save percentage was 30 or older last season. My point is, does he get older? Do you have a concern with the age? And the other thing is, obviously, he's coming off the hip surgery. Listen, if you give me Joonas Korpisalo in LA for those last 11 games when he was on fire, I'm all for it. But it's a gamble because I'm not sure which Korpisalo you get. Well,
it depends how you spin it. Right? I'll spin it this way and say, well, you've now signed him entering the prime of his career. So he's 29, and once he gets over 30, his save percentage is going to go up because that's what happens. Guys in their 30s have high save percentages. I'm a big fan of Finnish goaltenders. I've played with a lot of Finns. I'll tell you one thing about Finns. These guys work. They work and they work and they work. This is a funny story. When I was over in Lugano, number one, the only reason I got over there was because of my buddy Kimmo Timonen. Kimmo and I had played in Nashville together, and in Lugano, the Swiss League team I ended up playing for, they had 3 Finns on that team. It was Ville Peltonen, Jukka Hentunen, and Petteri Nummelen. And these 3 guys basically ran the team. They were the 3 best players in Europe at the time, and the only reason I got on that team is because Timonen vouched for me. And the first day I got there, the 3 Finns, they had a habit of going for a run before practice every day. And they said, hey, Yorkie, you want to come for a run with us? I'm like, how far are you guys going? 3 miles. 3 miles before practice. I think I'll have a coffee instead. But this is I'll take the option on this one. But I've always loved Finnish players, great guys, work hard, love to go for a run before practice. But it's the same thing with Forsberg. Remember the story with Forsberg? DJ Smith pops into the dressing room on Christmas Day. There's Forsberg on the bike. Christmas Day, riding the bike because he had been out for a while and he was trying to get himself ready for when he came back. And you remember what happened when he came back? He played extremely well until he did the double MCL. So I've never met a lazy Finn. I'm sure Korpisalo is going to come in here and work his tail off. And the two will have some chemistry together because they played together before. But at the end of the day, like it still is, like I said earlier, yes, I really like the move, but it's nothing's guaranteed as far as goaltenders go. It's just you never know. You try and make an educated decision. And I like the fact that they're trying this. You had to do something. And if you looked at the market, I'll guarantee you that Ottawa was on John Gibson's list of teams he wouldn't go to. And Hellebuck probably the same thing. Like Hellebuck's probably looking elsewhere. And no disrespect to Ottawa. That's just the way it is. But you got a guy that's excited to come to Ottawa. He's a good goaltender. He's 6'3", and I like the move. And then the other moves Ottawa made as well too, smaller moves, but all in all, I thought a pretty good day for the Ottawa Senators.
Okay, we'll get to the Brandstrom stuff in a second.
Yeah.
I will point out for those who don't know, in 2020, Game 1 of the first round series, Korpisalo set the modern NHL record for saves in a single game.
You remember that?
Despite losing 3-2 to Tampa. Just 8 short of the all-time record of 92 set by Normie Smith in the 1936 playoffs.
Normie!
Yorkie, I think you had season tickets that year. But here's the thing, though. One question I have: he's never played more than 39 games this season.
I know.
And you got him on hip surgery, Forsberg on knee surgery. That's a question mark to me, a huge question mark. I understand Mad Sogard isn't waiting, and Levi Marilainen perhaps, but your tandem, as of right now, is a huge question mark.
Well, injuries for sure are a concern, especially the stat you brought up there with the amount of games, Korpisalo. But he's going to be in a situation, and I'll spin this again, where he's not going to have to carry the bulk of the load. Like it appears from reports that I've read, people I've talked to, that Forsberg is on the mend. He's going to come back and be pretty well 100% by the time camp goes. So this is going to be more of a battery, a tandem, where Korpisalo is not going to be asked to play 50, 60 games. It'll be more of a duo and playing the guy that's playing the best, which you look at the way the NHL is right now, you don't see a lot of guys really carrying the bulk. So yeah, for sure. But what else do you really do? Like if you're Ottawa and if you're Pierre Dorian, like you're under the gun to get a goaltender, you got to make a move. You look at the crop that was out there right now. And I mentioned the fact that Gibson probably had a clause he didn't want to come here, and Hellebuck, I would probably bet, was in the same boat. So if you look at the next tier of who was out there, I always wonder about Carter Hart, though, in Philadelphia. I still think there's a deal to be made with Philadelphia that perhaps that could happen. But, hey, Korpisalo was available. He was sitting there. Didn't cost you any assets, just cost you some money. You had the room. You make the move, and we'll see. Like if it doesn't work out, it won't look good for management, and if it works out, they'll look like geniuses. So that's the way it is, and it's a risk because of the injuries, like you said. But I think it's a good educated risk.
Let's not forget Ottawa's track record of goaltenders in the last little bit as their number one guy.
Hey, it hasn't been good. It hasn't been good.
Like when I hear Matt Murray and Cam Talbot, I have PTSD of some sort because those are huge misses, absolutely huge misses. And I don't know that this one is better. You mentioned Connor Hellebuck. I'm guessing dollar amount is a huge part of why Korpisalo is here over Connor Hellebuck. Hellebuck has got to be a $6 million, $7 million goaltender any day of the week. I
wouldn't pay him that kind of money. Like
I understand, but I'm just saying there's no way that they're signing Connor Hellebuck for a 5-year, $20 million contract.
Would you give Connor Hellebuck $8 million based on what you saw the first round of the playoffs last year? I wouldn't. I didn't think he played like a. If you're making that kind of money as a goaltender, you can't have the first round that Connor Hellebuck had last year. He wasn't very good. Like he wasn't. So you can only kind of go off what you've seen. I know he's won the Vezina. Okay. I know he's got a history of being a good goaltender, but I wouldn't give him that kind of money based on what I saw in the first round of playoffs.
Oh, fair enough. But I don't want to delve into Winnipeg here too much, but that's a team in complete disarray. And I don't think on the ice they played very well in front of them.
Yeah, I know.
You look at Korpisalo from Columbus. You take his numbers from Columbus and change them with L.A., and I think he was outstanding in L.A.
I know. He stole the job at the end of the year, right? They brought him in more as an insurance policy. He was brought in to say, okay, here's a guy that we can use if shit hits the fan, and we need him. And he went in and stole the job. So number one, if something like that happens with a goaltender, number one, the guy's a competitive guy. The guy's motivated. The guy came in here, and you hope that's going to be the case here in Ottawa when he comes in. Him and Forsberg will have a healthy competition and battle it out for who gets the net. And that's, to me, that's a really good situation. And I understand the injury concerns. Well, yeah, 100%. But it's just, that's the thing on July 1. It's a risk. It's a gamble. But hey, it's like you're playing blackjack and you got you got two tens, or sorry, you got a 10 and your other face card's buried, and you're probably liking your chances. I'm liking the chances right now.